What's going on, guys? Welcome back for part 2 of our comparison between several middleweight hitches that are all in the $300 or less price category. Some of them are significantly less than that, but most of these are going to be between about $200 and $250, except for the one on the end right here, that WaySafe, which is an outlier. I only included it because I know people would want to see the WaySafe product. That one's over $300, like well over $300, almost $400. The rest of these, except for this one, are all generally between $200, $250. This one right here is under $100, and we're comparing these hitches to see which one you may want to pick up for yourself if you're looking for kind of that middleweight, middle price adjustable hitch with a lot of capability. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so hopefully you watched the first video. If you didn't, I'm going to link to it. Go back to that video before you watch this video, because I'm not going to do an overview again of all the hitches here. Instead, we're going to start going through them individually, going over some of the design characteristics and maybe the thought process behind how the manufacturer actually built these products. So this is going to be a pretty cool, informative video because we might get pretty in-depth on some of these. But again, we're going to start from the left, work our way to the right, and knock these out and see which one may be right for you from a design and engineering standpoint. Okay, back on the table again. Tri-ball hitch with a recovery hook, no adjustment to it in terms of height, has a open shank or a hollow shank on the back. Ratings on this one are pretty good. We went over all that in the first video, so check that out if you want to see what the ball ratings are. From an overall build quality perspective, the welds are good. This is a good quality product. There's a lot of products like this on the market, though. A lot of companies make this exact same looking setup. Reese, I think, is probably the most popular one if you're looking for a brand that you're like real familiar with. This one's made by Buyers. It's still a very, very good quality product. And again, what I like about this is its snatch and go capability. That if I need to grab a trailer, pick one up, I don't know what ball size it's going to be when I get there, or perhaps I just want something that's lightweight, I can grab with one hand and go with it. This is sometimes the one I go to. This is the same one that I put in the back of my tractor if I'm going to move trailers around the property. This is such a convenient setup. And again, these are typically marketed as like an ATV style hitch, but it uses a 2-inch shank. So not all ATVs are going to have a 2-inch shank. And this is certainly something you can use inside of your tow vehicle. Just keep in mind that no drop, no rise. But overall, build quality, I like it. I think the welds are pretty dang solid. You know, it has good capability, max capability with the 2 5/16" ball, or the hook is 10,000 pounds, which is pretty nice. The pin placement is pretty good as well. Whenever this is in the truck, you can actually see where the end of the shank is. So this portion right here is actually sticking off the back of the truck. And again, very, very convenient product to carry around just in the event you need to tow something and you need something that you can connect to your truck to tow it with. So I do like this product. Under $100, it is a fantastic value if all you're looking for is simplicity and the physical look of the hitch, or the adjustability up and down doesn't matter to you. So back on the table with the Blue Ox, I feel like I've known this hitch for a long time because I have the Curt version of this hitch, which looks identical to it. So it leads me to believe that Blue Ox is probably partnering with Curt to develop this product. It is a super high quality product. It's a low cost product. So these are not very expensive in terms of hitches. They're just a little over $200, generally in the $200 price category for something that looks fantastic. I love the contrasting tones between the two. It's a very heavy hitch. This specific one does have a solid shank to it, and it also has 2 different holes right here for adjustability. Now, I think they placed these a little close together. I feel as if they should have separated them a little bit more so you don't have to have as much of this sticking off the back of the truck if you don't want. But the reason why I feel they did that is because they needed to have this much going into the truck for safety reasons, and the 2 holes right here mean that this gusset could possibly interfere if they'd moved this any further up. And you can actually see they put a line right here, and your receiver on your truck is probably going to be right around this area. If we actually grab the Buyers product and we look at where the line is right here, you can see the line would be like right around here. So if you put it in here, the line would probably be right around here, and it would come very close to that gusset. So I think that's the mentality behind why they designed it the way that they did right there. Overall, it's really nice. It's very common to a lot of other channel style adjustable hitches. Again, 1/4-inch channel right here. This is essentially like a 2-piece hitch with 2 additional pieces of gusset to be able to support it. The welds are impeccable, very, very nice welds. I don't have any criticism there. But overall, this is a good quality product, relatively heavy. I do like this. They put a little rubber bushing behind this in the center, so whenever it's in place, even if this moves a little bit, you don't hear it as much because that rubber bushing presses against the inside of this channel and it dampens some of that movement. But very, very popular product. This has been around for a long time. Now it's under the Blue Ox name. I have no problems with this at all, and it's an excellent value if you're looking for a good-looking adjustable hitch that arguably will do most anything you ask of it. Okay, so we have the Fastway Flash Secure. This has the 2 locks in it. One lock right here to lock it into your receiver on your truck on the shank. Another lock right here to lock the hitch head at the adjustment height you want it to be at. And then you get some keys. It actually gives you 4 keys with this. Now, I don't believe they're keyed differently, so the keys should all work interchangeably between these 2 parts here. You have your 2 5/16 inch ball on here. The main ball right here is a 10,000 pound rated ball. So whenever you talk about max capability amongst all of these, this one is going to be on the lower end, but I think it's still going to be perfectly fine for most half-ton towing applications or SUV towing applications. This, to a lot of people, is concerning for a couple of reasons. It is aluminum, and I know some people just don't really trust aluminum when it comes to hitches. I think if it's from a reputable manufacturer, I think you're going to be just fine to probably go to the limit of what they claim it's capable of. But that said, some people are more concerned about the locks being integrated in, that they could corrode up or they could give you problems, especially if you live up north where they salt roads and they put chemicals on the road in the wintertime. Now, I don't know if that's been a concern because I live in the south. I know that from working with my brother who has one of these in his Tundra. He loves it. He's had absolutely no problems with it, and he hauls his boat around all the time, as well as submerging this hitch occasionally underwater whenever he's at the boat ramp putting his boat in the water. So that's salt water. And I would imagine that salt water would be the ultimate test on this, more so than the salt chemicals they put on the road, especially considering my brother's like a super angler and he's always fishing. So I need to reach out to him again and find out, have you actually messed with the locks? Do you use the locks? You have to use this one if you take it in and out of the truck because that's the only way it secures. But have you messed with this lock, and has salt water caused any issues? So I'm going to follow up with him on that just to see. But overall, he says he still loves it and he still uses it. But a lot of great characteristics here. It is built very well. Most of the time when you see an aluminum hitch, they're going to look a little bit more finished off than your steel hitches because they don't require the welding. Most of the times they're cut with a water jet, and quite frankly, they have a really, really beautiful, cosmetically nice appeal to them. And again, this is not an over $300 hitch. This one's comfortably in the $200 to $250 range, and this might be the right one for a lot of folks if you don't need the capacity to exceed 10,000 pounds on your 2 5/16 inch ball. Next hitch, and we've gotten a little heavier, is the Curt adjustable hitch. So Curt makes fantastic products. This specific product is manufactured overseas, but it is built exceptionally well. And I should have mentioned the Blue Ox product and the Byers product are all manufactured overseas. The Anderson product is manufactured in the United States. 2 really nice heavy-duty pins, great tolerances. This one's a little weird to put together, and I don't care for the feature that they've done. So just like the Blue Ox, they put a rubber bushing on the inside of this portion, this channel portion right here, right in the center. And that's designed to keep it from rattling around, which it does a fantastic job of that. But if you don't have a lot of body strength, when you go to put this in place, you have to pop one pin in first, then you have to put pressure down on this to compress that incredibly hard rubber bushing to put the other pin into place. And again, if you're a big burly guy and you got weight, you can put your foot on here and just put a ton of downward pressure on it. It might not be that difficult for you. But if you're not, like my wife would never be able to get that bottom or top pin in once the other pin is in. She would not be able to do it. It would cause her so many headaches. And I think that, yeah, you could make the argument that this is designed for, a big burly person to install, but that should not be a selling feature, right? Honestly, they should have cut back a little bit on that bushing right there, and it would have made it easier for this hitch head to be adjusted by anybody who needs to adjust it. So I may actually try it the way it is, but then possibly shave that rubber down a little bit just to see if it's easier to install, and that might help, and that might be a solution for a lot of folks if you get this product. Heavy duty, built exceptionally well. The welds are impeccable. It is a one-piece design here and a one-piece design here. It's just a really, really heavy product and a heavy-duty product. And if you're looking for something that looks nice, seems a little bit more compact, even though the hitch head assembly here is technically larger, because it's going on the outside of this shank versus the inside of a channel, this might be the one for you. Great price point. It is definitely a well-built hitch, and definitely one that I think if you got, you'd appreciate, except for maybe that rubber bushing that they put in the center. Now back to bulletproof hitches. So one thing that's always surprising me here is the fact that, I've gone through two really heavy hitches, both the Kurt and the Blue Ox. The Anderson hitch is a lighter weight hitch, so it's not super heavy. But then I get to this one, and it's surprisingly lightweight. I mean, it's nowhere near the weight of some of the other ones. And the reason for that is because this channel right here is a little bit thinner. Well, it's a 1/4 inch thick, so it's as thick as the Kurt, but it feels like it's lighter weight. The gusset on the back is a nice thick gusset, but the shank itself is hollow. And by having that hollow shank, it gives you a really, really nice weight and balanced hitch. This thing is really cool. I actually am a big fan of this product because of how light it feels compared to some of the other hitches that look very similar to it. This one's significantly lighter than the Blue Ox, which is a very, very similar functioning hitch, very similar design to this one. Capacities on this one are the same as well. So 14,000 pounds and 10,000 pounds on the 2-inch ball. Then you have your 2 adjustment holes right here. I think they're placed a little bit better because they actually give you a little bit more adjustability in putting this inside of the shank of your vehicle. But big fan of it. The only thing I don't care for about this product, and this is after using one myself, I don't like this powder coating that they put over the ball. I'm not a fan of that. I like a smooth, sleek ball that gives me the ability to put my grease on and not have to worry about this finished material wearing off, because this will eventually wear off. That's the only thing I don't like about bulletproof products, and some of the other products that do that as well, is that they don't put a finished off ball on it. And if they did that, I feel it would wear a little better. I feel you wouldn't have to worry about that coating coming off. And quite frankly, it would look better over time. But what do you guys think about that? Do you guys care if they put a finished ball on, or do you care if it's powder coated? What's your goal? I mean, if it's powder coated, it matches, but after a couple times towing with it, that powder coating will start to come off. Next, deceivingly heavy, and I mean it. It is significantly heavier than the bulletproof. It's probably significantly heavier than any of the hitches we've gone over so far, even though it looks like it should be a little lighter. The channel material right here is definitely a thicker material. That might be part of the reason, even though it's much narrower. It's like half the width, maybe even greater than that, versus the bulletproof and the Blue Ox. The hitch head assembly seems incredibly heavy as well, so that's probably part of it. Even the pins, even though they're short, they seem really, really heavy duty. The hitch itself is just a very heavy hitch. Now, they put a big gusset here, but that's a 1/4 inch gusset. The shank itself has 3 adjustment holes. It is a solid shank, and that's where the majority of the weight comes from. I believe it comes from here. Well, actually, I'm going to say it comes from the hitch head, the channel, as well as the shank. Every piece of this seems heavy on its own. From a balancing perspective, the shank definitely is where most of the weight is resting, though. But because it has that solid shank and it's a relatively long shank, you get a lot of weight here. Again, 3 adjustments, so a lot of people will like that. And this is a very tall drop or rise as well compared to the other one. So this one is definitely going to stick down lower off the back of your vehicle if you get this specific flavor. I don't know if they make it in a shorter variation, but I will definitely check. Okay, back on the table, Gen Y. This thing is actually really cool. I like this product a lot. The only characteristic I don't really care for is the overall length that it sticks off the back of your truck, because this portion right here is going to go into the receiver of your vehicle, and this whole assembly right here, which is probably close to 10 inches, is going to stick off the back of your vehicle, versus some of these other ones that don't stick off nearly as far. Many of them only stick off maybe about 6 or 8 inches. This one definitely sticks out further because it has the 3 individual shanks. Now, what I love about this is how easy it is to switch hitch heights. So you don't have that super, super precise capability some of these other ones may have to just go up maybe like an inch. You have to go up to the next receiver hole or down to another receiver hole. But I love the pin that they have. So basically, the pin locks in place really well. You simply turn it sideways and pull it out. It is the easiest to operate pin I've ever seen on an adjustable hitch or any hitch in general. Now, this is how easy it is. I pop that pin out. I remove the hitch head. I put it into the receiver hole on the size I'm looking for, the side. Pop the pin back in, and this pin simply slides in just like it comes out, and you're done. That's it. This is so simple to use, and it is so convenient, other than the fact it sits off the back of the truck so much. And I think they even know that. To build this type of hitch, you have to realize you're going to have a lot of mass right here, a lot of material right here, and it is going to stick off the back of your truck a little bit more. Now, depending on the hitch you get, it may not be that bad. So for instance, if I grab the Fastway and I put that next to it, you can see that is a huge difference, right? It's like 3 inches longer off the back of your vehicle. So if you're looking for something that hugs the back of your vehicle a little bit more, this style of hitch might work better for you. That said, though, when you look at something like the bulletproof hitch, which has this huge gusset right here, this gusset's going to push the assembly out as well. And if we line up the hitch pin holes, the Gen Y only sticks off the truck about 1/4 inch more than the bulletproof. And if you look at where the shanks start right here, again, it's only about 1/4 inch further back than where this channel is. So the Gen Y has this kind of deceivingly long look to it because it has the receivers right here. But it is so simple to use. And I think that the simplicity designed into this product actually make this one a little bit more convenient than many of the others. Again, to pop the pin out is so simple. You just turn it sideways, pop it out, pop the pin out right here, drop this to whatever receiver you want to put it in. And the tolerances are great. So the minute you find the receiver hole, it just kind of goes in. It's very simple. And you're good to go. One pin. I like this. And that is super convenient. Plus, there's other accessories you can use within this. And you can even arguably use this as a multi-receiver for other products that you might have, as long as the holes align with the holes on the side of the Gen Y. I got to admit, this one's growing on me. It really is. Especially that side-by-side comparison with the bulletproof product where it shows that they're ultimately the same size. I just love the one pin capability right here. And a lot of hitches, I generally don't prefer one single pin. But, you know, whenever you talk about your shank inside of your truck, it's only one pin. Now, this one is the one I dread moving around because it is so dang large. But it's super heavy. It's heavy duty. It's built really well. This is from Buyers. They make a great product. This right here is very interesting because it comes off of the shank assembly. This feels a lot kind of like a pseudo weight distribution setup because you have your shank right here, and then this whole assembly kind of hangs off the end with the second receiver. So the only two hitches here that use this type of design would be Gen Y and Buyers. So you get that second hitch receiver right here with the tri-ball system that goes inside of it. It's built pretty well. I'm going to say out of all of them, this one has what appears to be kind of the sloppiest welds. The welds don't look nearly as finished off as most of the other products. Very functional still. I don't think any of the welds would fail. Buyers is a very reputable company. Solid shank, dual pins here, single pin here. I like the fact that they put all the pins together right here, but it just feels and seems like it would take a while for you to get this thing set up in the configuration you want. This portion right here, you probably don't need to mess with. So really, it's just pulling these pins out, sliding this up to where you want it, and then putting it back in. You're going to have quite a bit of length off the back of your vehicle. And by comparison, let's take this one and put the Gen Y next to it to show you what I'm talking about. So I matched up the closer, so this one would put it closer inside of the truck of the actual pinholes. Check that out. So we're talking about probably 5 inches greater length than the Gen Y, which the Gen Y actually comes off quite a bit as well too. So this is a very long hitch. Some people may prefer that. If you have a truck for it and you have a trailer that has an electric tongue jack or a manual tongue jack that you want to clear whenever you lower your tailgate, this may be the hitch for you though. But it is very heavy. It weighs significantly more than just about anything up here, and that's because it has 2 solid steel shanks that you're dealing with, plus this entire mass up here at the end. Back with the B&W. B&W's back on the table. Again, the foam right here is just covering up the B&W logo just because when the tailgate on the truck opens, it hits this and it doesn't actually hit the steel. B&W is known for their tow and stow technology. Basically, I pop these 2 pins out. This whole thing rotates under and underneath the bumper and out of the way, so you don't have to worry about hitting your leg or anything on it. Really cool feature. I love that capability of it, plus the fact that if you want to switch your ball size, you simply pop this pin out right here, and you can switch to whatever ball size you want. And which hole you use here is dependent on the ball size. So with that ball, it has to go in right here. With the 2-inch ball, it has to go in right here. It's the same hole that it uses with the 2 5/16. Super easy to switch your ball size. Now, Let's compare that to like the Gen Y, right? Gen Y is one pin, you pop it out, and you switch your ball size. The benefit of the Gen Y, though, is if I want to adjust the height, that one pin releases this entire assembly. I move it to the height that I want and the ball size that I want in one motion. I'm not having to do anything else. If I want to adjust the ball size and the height on the B&W, I have to pop these two pins out plus this pin out, and I have to adjust this up or down, put the pins back in, adjust the ball, put a third pin back in, and then I'm good to go. But I have three different motions that I have to do here. And when you pop these out, it's not sometimes as simple as just moving this up and popping the pins back in. The pins sometimes don't just glide back in. You have to work with it to make sure you're aligned properly to get the pins to go in properly. But besides that, it's a really, really good system. It works real well. It is impeccably designed. The welds look really great on it. It's not as heavy as some of them, but it is still very heavy, even considering it does have a hollow shank. You do have two adjustment holes right here as well. But what I love about this is when you put this in the back of your truck, because there's no gusset right here, you can get really, really close to the back bumper of your truck, and you don't have much of an assembly sticking off the back. So most people, I believe, that opt for the B&W Tow and Stow are looking for the convenience of having everything that kind of wraps up very close to the truck and doesn't protrude off the back when you don't want it to. Just keep in mind there are more steps, especially if you keep it in a stowed position where this is wrapped under the bottom. If you want to go to use this, it's very likely that you're not going to be on the right ball size because you have to be on the smallest ball in order for this to go in its stow position. You're going to have to take the pins out, rotate it all the way around, put the pins back in. You're going to have to remove this pin, switch to the right ball size, plug it in place. Not a heck of a lot of work, but it definitely takes more effort versus some of these other ones, especially the Gen Y. Gen Y is quickly becoming one of my favorites because of how simple this design is and how easy it is to switch between height and ball size all in one motion. The only thing I don't care for with the Gen Y, again, is that powder-coated finish. I really wish they would go to a chrome-style finish because a lot easier to maintain, and this stuff basically never wears off. It always looks good. But yeah, B&W, an absolutely great product. A lot of functionality here. It just requires a few more motions. All right, so back to the WaySafe. Thing weighs like 15 pounds. It's super lightweight. Anyways, super cool product. Again, I'm only including this because I have it, not including it because it meets really a lot of the other criteria of having more than one ball and being under $300. This specific one is well over $300, about $365, I believe. It's nice because it has some really cool characteristics, like a lock right here where you unlock this and both your pins come out in one motion. So you're not pulling them out individually and you're not dealing with pins that you have to remove. So that's really cool. It has two capabilities of adjustment right here for your shank. Switching between ball sizes versus all of these is probably the most inconveniencing, but not that bad. And let me explain why. Once you remove this piece right here slides off. There's a pin in the back of this that you pop out, the ball slides off, throw your new ball in. If I am going to switch ball sizes and I have this on the back of my truck already, the motion is actually pretty easy. And we have another video that's going to come up actually showing how easy or difficult these are to go through all the adjustment processes. So definitely subscribe so you can get notified when that comes out. But once you pop this out, you slide it off, swap the pin, slide it back on, pop it in place at the height you're looking for, and you're good to go. So it's not difficult. I did forget the ball one time in the garage, so I didn't have my 2-inch ball when I needed it. And that speaks to having both ball sizes or all three ball sizes that you need included, kind of coming in handy. But they do have a version of this that has a ball on the top and bottom, but it does not have the scale in it. So if you're looking for that product, they have that in aluminum as well. So it is lightweight. I just don't have that product to show you here today. That said, though, very well built, all aluminum, super lightweight, stainless steel ball. It's just a really, really great setup, high quality. I use these a lot. They're great, great hitches. So if you don't like carrying keys around for all sorts of different things, that might be a bit of an inconvenience. Overall, though, it's a great product. A lot of people have the WaySafe product, especially because of that integrated scale that gives you the ability to check your tongue weight. How much weight are you actually transferring to the tow vehicle so you can balance out your load a little bit more effectively. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for part 2 of this series on these middleweight hitches. Most all of them, except for that last one, are under $300. And this one right here is under $100. But what do you guys think? What characteristics do you like about each one of these? Do you like the powder-coated finish? I know that black stealth look probably looks really cool. Do you prefer a chrome finish? Do you like the adjustment capability of the Gen Y versus some of the others? Do you like the integrated lock? Do you like this channel style setup right here? Do you like the gold color that you have on this hitch? What are the things that you love about these hitches, and what are some of the things that you think should be done differently? Anyways, guys, please leave a comment below. I would love to know your thoughts. If you haven't had a chance, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, hit your notification button so you know when new videos come out, because we have a lot more content on these hitches, especially the ease of installing these and adjusting them in the back of your truck, because that's really the most important aspect of it. Are you going to love using the hitch? Not just looking at it, but actually using it and making the adjustments that you might need to make. Anyways, we'll see you in a future video. Talk to you again very soon.